Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey with Teaching Online with Kelsey. So before we really get started on this video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for future videos on my channel every week, and to also give this video a thumbs up and comment any questions that you have about the video, and also watch until the end. And one more thing I want to share before we really dig in. If you want insider videos and videos you cannot see anywhere else on YouTube that's related to the content that I have to offer, then join my YouTube membership page. You can start as low as $2.99 a month and you get insider videos and insider posts and special lives just for members on my YouTube page. So the link to sign up for that is going to be down below in the description box. So now let's go ahead and dig in. So as you may have guessed, this video is in relation to the top 5 mistakes made when choosing a niche for your content. Now, I will say straightforward, the type of content that I make for my channel is going to be for online teachers. However, I feel like for this particular video, it can be applicable for more niches other than online teachers, especially since we are actually talking about niches and such. So this is this is related to my niche, but it's also applicable to other niches as well. Especially for the online teacher community, the word niche has been tossed around like tossed salad. Like, it's something that you always hear. It's always a term in the back of your mind when you're looking up online teacher videos is pick a niche, choose a niche, teach with your niche. Like, niche. That's all you hear about. And I'm not saying that it's not a terrible idea to have a niche in relation to what types of classes that you're wanting to teach online, but you definitely want to have a niche as a driving force to help you decide like what kind of content you're going to make, what kind of classes you want to teach. It's something that you want to keep consistent with. So, which is also going to lead into this video here where I am going to talk about the top 5 mistakes made, and I have done all 5 basically. So this is just from personal experience, and I'm sure you're watching this video and you're thinking, you know, I probably made those same mistakes too, or maybe you're just getting into content creating or online teaching and you're thinking like, okay, I want to make sure I get this whole niche thing done right. And lots of online teachers keep talking about niches, but you know, I just want to make sure I understand it and I want to make sure I do it right. Number 5, you are not thinking long-term of your niche. So whatever niche that you decide that you're going to use either for online teaching or for content creating, or maybe both, you are not setting a goal of what you want to expect out of that niche. And another thing that I like to describe, like if you don't plan long-term around that niche, is something called shiny object syndrome. And no, I'm not kidding. I'm not making that up. This is something that I have found very recently. And shiny object syndrome is essentially this idea that you have these great ideas and you try to run with it and see what happens and just hope for the best for whatever interest that you're in. And, you know, and it's great and exciting at first, but that fuse lights out so fast. Then you get tired of it, you know, after 2 weeks, or you don't really set a goal and you only like it for a week and then you're ready to move on to something else. And the fact of the matter is, that's a huge mistake in terms of what you're wanting to create. And I know for online teachers, when you see parent requests for classes that are like, oh, my child needs a writing class, or I would love it if someone offered a very specific cooking class. Like, as much as you would love to say, yeah, I should create something like that and offer it to that parent, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, is this something that you could see yourself teaching for a really, really long time? Or is this something that you only want to satisfy for that parent in that moment? So if you're not thinking long-term on something that you're really interested in, really excited to talk about, then don't do it. Number 4, not researching your niche enough to understand it. So what does that really mean in terms of, really fully understanding it? So you see this idea of what you want to talk about, and you're going, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to go forward. And the thing is, if you cannot come up with a lot of questions or find questions that other people might be looking for that's surrounding your niche, and you're not really taking the time to understand and really see like what that particular audience could be looking for, and you're not really able to answer those questions, then don't do it. Don't go into it. I could not tell you like how many classes I thought this would be a great idea to teach, only to figure out later like, oh, I'm gonna have to take like a lot of time, and if I'm teaching something and a child asks a question that I'm like, I'm not really sure, that's not a good look to parents, to say that you don't really have all the answers to that question. And maybe in their mind, they're like, well, if you're teaching this class, I feel like you should be an expert at this. And if you're not even able to answer that question, that's not good. You don't want to do that. So you want to make sure if you go into something that you do research on it, and that you really do understand like what you're trying to share with your audience, whatever that audience may be. And that's not to say, all right, which is going to lead into number 3, thinking that you need to be an expert in that particular niche. So you do not have to have a master's degree. You do not have to have a PhD degree. You do not need to have these years of experience to teach something, or to talk about something with your audience. So one of my very first classes on OutSchool happened to be about the solar system. And I mean, generally speaking, I love talking about the solar system, and I love sharing all these cool facts about the planets. But I'm here to tell you now, I am no astrophysicist. I am not a scientist. That is not where my credentials come from. I am a certified teacher who just happens to love space. And the thing is, I love space enough that I make it really interesting and really compelling to my learners to go, wow, I didn't know that about Jupiter. I didn't know that about, Neptune and Uranus. I had no idea. And I didn't know this is how the solar system worked. So you don't have to be an expert to talk about it. Going back to 4, you do need to do your research and know what you're talking about and be able to answer those questions. But again, you're not expected to be an expert in this field or whatever niche that you're wanting to choose. Number 2, you niche down too much or too little. Now I know this can be more of an art than a science in terms of finding that perfect niche that works for you. Now, if you niche too down, then you're only targeting a very, very specific audience. And for that very, very specific audience, it's really small. And this also goes for online teaching. I could not tell you how many parent requests were out there where it's like,
is there a class where my 12-year-old can learn how to code in Russian, but he can also do like coding and cooking at the same.
I mean, maybe not that ridiculous, but some of them are very, very specific and very niche that, there's a lot of teachers that would respond going, okay, well, I don't know if I necessarily have like exactly what you're looking for, but this is what I have to offer that I feel like is pretty close to what you're getting. And so, it's one of those things where it's just like, wow, that is just way, way too niche. And you don't want to feed into that very, very specific niche. But on the flip side, you also don't want to be too broad in your niche. If your niche is in music, okay, well, what kind of music? Are we talking instrumental music? Are we talking about choral music? Are we talking about like different types of genre of music? Are we talking about how to write, different songs like composition? If you just say music, it's very broad. So you kind of want to meet in the middle where you're not saying, let's play, you know, Somewhere Over the Rainbow on ukulele, but then you also don't want to say music either. You want to find that middle ground where you are able to still offer ukulele to others and be able to experiment more with that. Number one, I feel like this should not have to be said, but believe it or not, it really does need to be said. You are not following your interests. I'm gonna say that again. You are not following your interests. So you are not really following what you are passionate about sharing with others. It's just not there. Like one of the biggest tips that I talk about in my 5-star online teacher course is with your niche planner, thinking about a topic that you could talk about with a friend for 5 to 10 minutes over coffee. Something that you are passionate about, and after that 10-minute mark, your friend's like, okay, thanks, that was really informative, can you shut up, please? Like you are that excited about that particular topic that you would be so excited to teach about it or share about it with other people. And especially for online teachers, again, you're going to have to remember you really, really, really need to be passionate about it, because this means you're going to talk about it every week for multiple times each day for a long time. And if this idea of you teaching the solar system 4 times a day for 5 days out of the week is like, oh gosh, this is just too much. Okay, it might be time to go to another niche then. And you know, and the thing is, if you did teach something for a long time and you are getting to that point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, like it's okay to change up on your niche. So don't worry, like if you were excited about it at first and then you're like, I really want to take a break from this, or I'm not sure if I really want to do this anymore, you know, it's okay to change it up too. You now know, like, okay, this is not really what I want to do anymore. So that's okay too. You want to follow your interests. That's the key thing. That is the key thing. That should be your main takeaway in terms of, you know, the mistakes made and the mistakes to not make when you're choosing a niche, is you truly want to follow what you want to talk about with other people. Thank you so much for watching. If you really like this video, make sure to check out my channel and my other videos that I have to offer. And on my YouTube membership page is where you will find my video presentation on how to get monetized on YouTube. And so I will see you next time.